with the devil's device. Watching over Chi-Town, evil's paying the price. As conflict rages on, darkness circles his soul. A hero with a mission, but it's taking its toll. Oh, devil flyer, out to right what went wrong. Oh, devil flyer, protect the weak from the strong. Oh, devil flyer, he rides the wings of the night. Oh, devil flyer, bringing hell to the fight. Oh, devil flyer, oh, devil flyer, oh, devil flyer.
Critical blast logistics, getting it done, getting it there. Critical blast logistics, getting it done, getting it there. The world has got you down, a smile on your brow. Put a little madness in your life. If life made you unashamed and comics are your estate, put a little madness in your life. Go give your mind a cleanse. Tune in with pops and friends. Just turn on your Roku box and then put a little madness in your life. Put a little madness in your life. Yeah, yeah. Put a little madness in your life. At a cursed crossroads where souls collide, see the Prince of Darkness, see the Prince of Lies, while the world lies sleeping and the moon's aglow. They may meet with the devil, you know. When your heart is quaking and your soul can't rest, open up the pages of the devil you know best. People face their demons as each tale unfolds, but the devil's in the details, and their fate's been sold. Hear their fate's been sold, and they're lost to hell. That's the deal you have to make with the devil you know well. It's a Critical Blast podcast.
Me.
With our special guest, Rex Christian.
That's it. And also starring Pops Van Zant from The Madness. Pops.
What is up, everybody? What's happening?
I'll tell you what's up. Rex's campaign is up. Rex, the guest of honor, who should sit right over here.
Rex, who's your friend?
Oh, this is Abigail. Yeah.
Abigail.
This is kind of my unofficial co-host as well.
She looks comfortable there. She looks very calm.
Very calm. Yeah. That's the way. That's her state of being in most times. Yeah.
Is she a barker?
No, not really. Not unless she's got something to bark about.
Yeah, that's unlike the dogs here who, they don't usually bark, but when they do bark, it's for no reason at all. And
we actually have an Abby by Abby a meal tier on the, that was the last minute thing. I was like, I can't leave Abby out.
So how many people
where we
pay
have
for
buy
that too?
coffees? Yeah.
Last time I looked
where we have buy
4,
people
but
coffees, let's buy
we're
the
like
dog
8.
meal.
Yeah, we're like, she had, when I was thinking earlier last year of launching it and was starting to build it, she had this mole come up and it was kind of red. And I was like, help Abby, send Abby to the vet tier. But it's kind of like, not as red and just kind of like went down. But when it first popped up, I've had her for 11 years, just celebrating 11 years with her. She's a full bred, bred for hunting, terrier breed, Jack Russell, and the best dog I've actually had ever.
Does she get the rats out of the pipes, or is that a different breed entirely?
Well, she helped chase a rat out of the house and a possum.
There you go.
Yeah, she will actually go nuts till you get it out of the house.
Yep, that's a terrier. They want those things gone.
Yeah, I want them gone too. I don't want a rat. That rat was as big as a possum. I thought it was as big as a small possum when it came into the living room. She was curled up in my lap in the recliner asleep. And I was like, is that another possum? Because we had just extradited this small possum. They were getting in from under the house. And I didn't know. I came in. I woke up one day and came in, and this possum was on my kitchen table or my kitchen, by the oven, eating my bread. Had torn into the bread sack and was eating my bread. And he's like, country. Oh, shoot it down to a table and then down on the floor and ran away.
Bird shot.
Yeah. We got him, didn't we? He got into the trash can. It was not full size. He got into the trash can, couldn't get out. So I just took the trash can out, let him out, and kicked him in the behind and said, now, and don't come back.
And don't come back.
Yeah. He did come back, but he didn't get in the house.
I saw a wild boar out here recently. It's the first time I'd seen one of those.
Yeah. I've had some wild boar jerky before. That's actually pretty tasty. Yeah.
First thing I thought it was Mike Barron, but
yeah, with the Florida man, Hogzilla.
Was it a hog?
Yeah.
A hog?
I'll tell you, we had on unexpectedly. We had on Dan Lawless and Glenn Fleming. So it was wonderful to talk to those guys again. Glenn Fleming's he's not in the credits on the campaign yet. I've been working with him on some other projects, but he's going to help design the back of the artist edition and do some interior background work for me as well.
Now, the artist edition, is that the black and white? Not the black and white. I mean, that the hardcover?
That's the hardcover, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's more. That's what's going to be more in the hardcover than in the 3 variant covers.
I want to get out the way and let RJ do what he does, okay? But I just wanted to say this is the 4th time today I've been online talking either with Rex or about Rex.
And that's how books get funded. You get out there and you start hitting the campaign trail.
Absolutely.
Day 1, day 2, day 3.
Yeah.
My reach took a huge hit when they locked me out of my Twitter account, guys. I lost 1,800 followers.
Oh, wow.
I have a new Twitter account. Please follow it.
And why was that? Why did that happen?
long time ago, my Microsoft email got hacked, and that was what I
Okay.
used to make that account 3 years
Yeah.
ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And they locked me out of that email account. So I just stayed logged into Twitter because I knew if I ever logged out, I'd be fucked, right? They wouldn't let me change the email address because they couldn't send the email to my old email account
To confirm that you're trying to change it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I lost about 600 videos on Voodoo that way.
Yeah. So in essence, they basically locked me out of.
I did too, RJ.
You know. So I sent emails to everybody. I'm like, come on, man, and they sent me email that basically said, no, you're screwed.
Yep.
They're not going to help me, even though it would be so easy because my phone is my 2-step verification for that account. And they could just call me and I could say, yeah, this is me. Fix the email, please. They won't do it. It's not that they can't do it.
I know. I went with the phone service, Pops, and the phone service I ordered the phone from. And so they're saying I had service when I didn't have a phone. I said, look, guys, I bought my phone from you. These months here, can I talk to a suit? They wouldn't. And I was like, get me off of this right now. And they did. And I'll never go back to them. You know, and it's sad. You get these people like they ask the same patented questions. They go by script, and it's like, can I talk to a real person?
Yeah. So I had an issue with StreamYard today too. They just killed all my extra seats. I couldn't invite another admin in. Nobody could set up their shows. And I get somebody. I actually have a human. Nadine was wonderful. They ended up bringing an engineer to look at my account to figure out why this happened. Couldn't figure it out. Gave us a 10-day free trial while they figured out. And gave
because they could obviously tell you've been using it for past year.
Year? Like 3 years.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, they had to bring an engineer to look at my account. Still couldn't figure out why the extra admin seats all got eliminated.
Whoever's got your Microsoft account's
messing
with
you. Supposed to have this many seats, right? But anyway, I don't want to, like I say, today was a shitty day on the internet.
Yeah, it was Monday. That tells me it's going to be, a good week.
Yes.
I don't know, man. My Twitter got smashed. They almost smashed my StreamYard. It's like
Murphy's Law. Murphy's
Law. It can
Law.
only go uphill from here, right?
Right. Yeah. When the edge of the ditch is your
worse.
horizon line, you're pretty low.
I'm not going to say it can't get worse because.
Oh, that's just
don't.
Yeah.
I'm a proponent of don't look back too much. Although I don't think we should totally forget about the past. But if you're looking backwards, you may trip over your future.
It's fact.
Yeah.
There you go.
You keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah.
Pops, thanks. It's good to talk to you.
Hey, you bet.
Good to
I'll
see
talk
you,
to you guys later. You guys go back this, get it funded real quick so that he can relax.
Wait,
I've heard that his blood pressure's up and all kinds of fun shit. So help him out. Peace.
Yeah. In between.
Pops,
and Doc's too. Doc Blaylock's been a big artist and we're working on the last few pages of it. Been working on this project, RJ, for over 2 years. Easy.
That's what I read. And I think what Pops is saying to everybody is
just back it already.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of people have. Well, 25 people have.
Yeah, and for what 24 hours into the campaign now, plus some
48,
change,
a little over 48.
48, okay.
Hmm.
Well, that's right, because it was
we launched like about 3 Eastern Saturday.
Yeah, I lost Sunday somewhere because I took off work today. I woke up this morning, couldn't talk, couldn't swallow.
Wow.
Still sore all on this side, but
well, it was 50 something, and then at late night it went up to like 61%. I went to bed at some point today, woke up, and it was like 33%, 83% rather. And now it's up to 85. So
that's a good way to wake up. So folks,
if
you want to make that number go higher, the link to that campaign, that one right there, is right down there. first thing you're going to see is the link to Fund My Comic. Click on it, takes you right to it in another window, so you're not going to lose anything that Rex is going to say. You can still hear it while you're getting your wallet out and saying, "Yeah, give me a copy of this Devil Flyer book here." 3 years about you've been working on this. Do you remember what you were doing all that time back that said, "That's it, Devil Flyer, that's what it is"?
Well, it didn't quite happen that way. I created Devil Flyer I'd settled on a project. Yesterday was 10 years since my dad passed away. And shortly after, I would have to get the original drawing out and see sometime this month. 10 years ago, I created another character that's in the book. He was actually the last major character to be added to the book. A bog, sort of a man thing, swamp thing like creature, the heap, the original, swamp creature from the Golden Age. And I was kind of settled on working on him, because I thought, I'm going to have to do all the artwork myself. And I created a Devil Flyer a couple years later in 2017. And I had asked a friend of mine who did, John Fernandez, who did the Devil Flyer. He did a Golden Age cover for it, watercolor. He did all the interior. It took him like a year and a month to pencil it, ink it. That was with me adding a couple extra pages, him adding a couple extra pages, 28-page story. He did the lettering on it and got it finished. And in the meantime, I decided to add some backup stories to it and grow the channel a little bit more and get better known. And I think that was a good call from the response. It's been a long trip, but here we are. And it seems to be actually taking flight with a few people. Hey, Pale Rider.
So this is the concept art of the character here. This is John Dillard's rendition, right?
Yes. I had him kind of the trident was kind of cut off there so I had him do an image where the trident is whole and to put later on a t-shirt and other merch.
Okay. Yeah. And the wings, I guess, are sort of fire energy. They're not like solid physical wings, or
no, they're solid. They're solid. It kind of looks, since it's on a white background, when it's on a black background, it looks like the feathers are black and charred. So,
okay.
Yeah, they are physical wings. I guess I could change that, you can, the narrative. I mean, it's not really explained. And he's going to remain a mystery for a while, RJ. You're going to wonder, is he a hero? Is he a villain? Or is he somewhere in between? Is he an anti-hero? This image is going to be made into a standee. It's going to be not only on the main cover, but it's going to be on the artist edition, hardback edition.
It's a good piece of key art for that character.
Yeah.
Now,
I think that's what sold a lot of people on this project, to tell you the truth.
It's you sell to the eyes.
When
it comes to comics.
Yeah. Well, Dillard's he's done the content page, and it's at the bottom of the page there. And I used it for a credit page, but he did the content page. He's got a 2-man, another character, Inner Man, that's linked up dialogue wise with the Devil Flyer story. All these are all complete. Hey, Brian, all these are all complete stories. I don't really want to sell it as an anthology. It's all about Devil Flyer. Certain characters will have their own story arcs, but it will all eventually be rolled into Devil Flyer, because he's made a Faustian sort of bargain with this chaotic creature, and one of his actions leads to sort of opening Pandora's box, if you will, and letting a lot of chaos into the world. And he's trying to fix it by meeting eventually along the way. He meets all these characters like Bog, Inner Man, Sea Demon, and he's to prevent the apocalypse from happening. he's gathering up kind of a Justice League or an Avengers to fight this great evil on a you know, on an arc. And he was born in 1899. I wanted to, because he was kind of based on Doctor Strange,
Okay.
Spawn, a resurrected character, kind of Hawkman type characters because he's got wings, right? And really, his
And
name
he
came from the wings and the devil's tail, Devil Flyer. It just kind of made sense. And I thought, well, that's the name that I've not heard, you know, and that's how his name came apart. I designed the character and then I usually come up with the name. And this is his old Golden Age look with this is a watercolor, so even the blue's kind of a robin blue. It should be kind of a deeper, darker blue. You'll see this costume again, gray. And up to the time I had John Dillard do a cover for me, I said, you know what, I'm going to lean into with John with the fiery powers. This is more of his Doctor Strange and Spawn Eldritch powers.
now, when you say Golden Age version,
Yeah.
did he just appear in modern day, or did he appear a long time ago?
Well, you'll hear
he
his
appear back in the
origin in
50s?
issue 7. So that's far down the road. But I said, how can I top this arc that I'm going to go on with the character? What can I do that will, and it's going to be really the conclusion or the arc in issue 7, along with his origin. He did fight in World War One. He fought in World War Two. He's an old character. He was born in 1899, so he's been around a while. But he
Okay,
kind of
so
disappeared for a while and then came back. Like I
but
said, in the
people in your
meantime,
story know who he is.
what now?
People in your story, they know who he is. He has a reputation in the universe.
Yeah, well, he kind of has been gone a while and burst on the scene, kind of low profile. Uh, um, and the costume has changed since the olden days. So he's kind of a man of mystery. And I think if you give away too much, RJ, that kind of takes the mystery out of the character, you know?
Well, yeah. I get that.
And I have Jimmy Reyes. He hasn't completed it yet, so it's not up there, but we have some Jimmy Reyes has a project on Indiegogo now, Dragon Rage, immensely popular. I think it's over 40,000 easy. He's doing a wraparound cover for me. I have 4 covers on this. I have a blank sketch cover. And then if you count the artist edition, they'll be done in black and white here of John's with an overlay. And then I'm thinking if we make enough, you know, the old Marvel 25th anniversary.
They put the
characters.
like the border around it.
John Dillard started one of those using my characters about a year ago. He hasn't been paid for that yet and hasn't completed it, but we got it all laid out, and he did a couple characters and colored them on there. If we do that and we have a clear acetate dust jacket for the artist edition, we'll absolutely put that around this scene here with all the other characters from the Momentum universe.
That looked cool.
Yeah.
I like overlay covers. They're expensive and they're hard to print, but you know,
right. And if we don't, then we'll just print as shown here on the hardback with the logo in color and the rest in black and white.
Yeah, and it's going to be a black and white interior, right?
Black. Yeah. This first one's gonna.
edition.
There is some spot coloring in there, and I think you know what I'm kind of doing something because coloring is expensive, right?
Yeah.
Hey, General Piggy, he's a great supporter of the indie scene, as you know. This is a character that's going to morph. He's going to go through a lot of changes. Just like that is a helmet on his head, and just like Dr. Fate, it messes with him. It kind of suppresses his power. He doesn't know it. He's being subverted by this other entity that's trying to get loose. It's kind of got a little Sinbad, Voyages of Sinbad in it, where he encounters these different things on his quest along the way. And for every action he takes, he's bringing the apocalypse and this creature, unleashing this creature on the world closer and closer and closer. So as he tries to do good, he's really unleashing evil on the world.
So the more he uses his power, the more he feeds the beast.
The more he feeds the beast, exactly. And so what does he do about that? Well, at first, when he encountered some of these characters, we're going to take a page from Marvel Comics, and issue 2 is going to have now it's going to be issue 1, I believe. We're going to have a knockdown, drag out fight with Inner Man, who's John Dillard. I hope will continue drawing that feature. But then they will team up and fight another, hey, Carrie, will fight another enemy and become friends. And so eventually he'll draw this team of characters of not only heroes, but villains. There'll be a few villains that join the heroes to fight off this great evil.
Now, you're talking about issue 2, and you're saying, Origin comes up in issue 7.
Yeah.
What's your timeline for all of this? I mean, are you looking at a book a year, a book every 6
about
months?
85% done, so this one will come out fairly quickly. Of course, I kind of had a jump start on this issue, and of course I've waited. I've waited a couple years on a couple of the stories. Doc Blaylock completed the Grave Tales story, which I think is the best story. The one that I prefer. Now, maybe somebody else prefers something else, but it's a good, solid story, as the Devil Flyer story is too. And it takes the most room up in the Devil Flyer, and he's the principal character. But in every issue, I will have a secondary character that gets a lot of face time. In this one, it is sort of my watcher character called the Bystander, and he's the more cosmic, Galactus or Watcher, the cosmic element character, the Phantom Stranger, if you will, of my universe. So he'll get a lot of face time. We're working on an 8 or 9 page story that leads into the Grave Tales story with Bog right now. And this is the splash page. And the Devil Flyer story is all about his trident or his weapon, this story. Right. His weapon has been taken away from him. He has to get it back. So, and he's not the devil. That's why I said not the devil's weapon, but a devil's weapon, and this really is probably taken from a Marvel team up or something like that, or Amazing Spider-Man, where I saw Spider-Man in chains and being thrown into water like this. It immediately sucked me into the story as a kid. And so I wanted to get you right into the story from page 1. And you know what? The same darn thing happened to me, RJ, that happened to me in that Spider-Man story. By the time
you got thrown into the water in chains?
Well, I mean, when you see this, it cuts to earlier that day, double page Kirby spread of him overlooking modern day Chicago. And by the time you revisit this on page 16, you've totally forgotten about it. That happened to me as a kid. I was like, oh yeah, he gets thrown in the water on page 1. That's what I love about it,
Yeah, wings don't do you a whole lot of good underwater.
No, they weigh you down. Yeah.
Now you said he's wearing a helmet, and we can see that. But how much of the rest of what we see is costume versus man? I mean, are the wings strap on? Is the tail part of the suit?
No, the wings are out of his back. The tail's coming out his butt. He's sort of a hellish, like morphed man. He's absolutely a man that was born on Earth, but he's been changed.
So he has to. Can he retract all of that stuff? I mean, how does he live a normal life, or is he Devil Flyer all the time?
He doesn't. He's Devil Flyer all the time, and he's wrestling with his past, and as he's fighting over modern day Chicago. He could go anywhere in the world, but he winds up in Chicago fighting Cy Marco and his crime family in this first story. And as I say, obviously they subdue him in some way, and they are trying to drown him here or do away with him. He gets shot in the neck. Spoilers, but I think I show that on the campaign here, and he winds up in the drink. And of course, does he survive? I don't know. Does he? By my book, you know.
He's got a whole series named after him. He better.
Yeah, he survives. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So a lot of the source of his powers though comes from the helmet that he's wearing, because otherwise, I was thinking, if he can't get rid of the wings, he can't get rid of the tail. They're there all the time. Why wear a
Spoilers,
helmet?
RJ, you're cracking me in the balls. Actually, this is part of the unknown storyline. A lot of his strength has been like Samson when he got his hair cut, right? Has been siphoned off. So he's not as powerful a being as if he doesn't die first, if he ever gets his power back, he will be Spawn, Doctor Strange level strength,
So here we see
a lot of his
the good hero
power
always
resides
proves.
in his trident. I will say that.
Okay.
His helmet acts as a dampener and kind of dampens, but he doesn't know this. He's kind of tricked into wearing it.
Oh, so like pulling the helmet off is sort of like knocking Cyclops' glasses off.
Yeah, and at the end of this, he takes the helmet off. We get to see his face, and he remembers. It messes with his memory when he has the helmet on.
Oh.
And he can tap into more of his power actually when he has the helmet off. But as soon as he puts it back on, he forgets.
You were at 87%.
Oh, wow. It's went up. Awesome.
It has gone up.
Oh,
you know
Brian
what that means, right?
Backer 8625. Okay.
Well, that's because Brian likes our shake and bake moments, Rex.
Yeah.
And that's what happens anytime a book goes up during a show when they're on. We take the credit for it, and we have a little shake and bake celebration. It goes like this.
It's shake and bake, and I help.
We give that out to the person in the chat who helped for giving us a shake and bake moment. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, Dillard's not only did the cover, but he did the content page. If you can show that, it's all the way down the bottom. It's a typewriter. I put some of the artists and I write all the stories. This is a Dillard piece that he did for me at my instruction, what I wanted. And the guy's just so good, so fast. He's also got a 2-page Interman story, and he'll probably do the draw-in tier we have a drawn-in tier and then of course Critical Blast here. RJ, he's going to fulfill the campaign. And if you go a little bit further down, you'll see sort of that's the first stretch go that we're getting close to. This is another John Fernandez sort of, I guess he did watercolor on this trading card. And then the next thing will be a John Dillard magnet of another character. And this is done by Rob Ewing. This is sort of Momentum Concepts, Momentum Comics mascot, my speedster, because we're all about the speed at Momentum, Zigzag. So you'll absolutely be seeing a lot of cameos of first appearances, and that's what I promise. With every book, you will get at least one first appearance. Now, I think I had about 16 or 17 first appearances in my ash can. You'll get probably even more in this book. So it's going to be first cameo appearances of some, and first full issue appearances, and first cover appearance of a bunch. We've got on that John Dillard cover alone, you've got 14 of my characters.
Right.
Depicted.
Yeah, so there's a whole universe already in place here. You don't have to slowly build it up. They're there. Now you mentioned speed though, and Momentum Comics. obviously built into the name is the fact that there is momentum.
Yeah.
Knowing that it took 2 years to get this first issue together,
More than 2 years.
more than 2 years, exactly. Is it going to be more than 2 years for issue 2? I mean, do you have
No.
what's the business plan for rolling out things with that kind of speed?
Okay, the business plan is to keep Devil Flyer before we haven't even. I'm touting this as a prequel, not an issue 1, and I've got a lot of guff from that. I'd say a lot of guff. There's been a few people say, "Well, no, just call it issue 1." I have my reasons, you know. I had to get the elephant out of the room, really, to make more room for the backup stories. So that's, and plus the way he did it. When you look at his Devil Flyer artwork, he had 2 eye surgeries, one on the left, one on the right. While he was doing it, took him a year and a month to draw it, ink it, letter it, and from my thumbnails. And I added a couple pages. He added a couple pages at the end, which I think absolutely made it better. So I credit him with that. He's excited about it. But he drew it to scale, the size of a regular comic book, which is not very big at all. So when you look at this artwork, you got to take that into he was like 71 years old when he drew this.
So he drew these on 6x10 sheets.
Small. Yeah. And look at you can't tell really. I mean, maybe when you blow it up, a few incomplete lines here or there, but you know, it's pretty solid work for, you know, I think.
Well, you are going to blow it
now,
up.
Now, this alludes to his origin right here. He's been shot in the neck. This absolutely, through broken imagery of glass and panels and stuff, allude to some of Devil Flyer's past. That was the 2 pages I added to the issue kind of late after I had sat down 8 hours and kind of came up and storyboarded the story.
Yeah, this is a lot of chaos and
yeah, it's supposed to be chaos.
And you know, it's disturbing, not because, you know, it kind of reminds me of Dan Clowes kind of stuff, which always disturbed me when I looked at it, or a Jack Chick tract.
Oh yeah.
A lot of stuff going on there.
I used to sell those, by the way.
I wanted a whole collection of those. I had a lot of them when I was a kid.
Well, some of them you don't want because they're just there's some that are just kind of hate filled, but the others are pretty solid. Yeah. Well, they're fiercely anti-Catholic, so you know.
Oh yeah.
In some of their tracks. So I actually ordered those for years, and so I knew the good ones and the bad ones. I can recommend, and I usually bought the good ones. I have a big Chick tract collection actually. And RJ says, "Of course you do, Rex."
Well, no, I had a big collection at one point too, but you know they were hard to keep because they were little. Now there used to be a website that I would go and read them, but Jack Chick was pretty much anti everything except Jack Chick.
Well, yeah, but that absolutely falls in the realm, I think, of not just a Christian tract, but comic book artwork, book. Little mini comics.
He definitely had a style. He definitely communicated his message. Comics worked.
I have thought over the last couple of years while I've been having artists do work, because it's like, I wanted to employ artists, you know, and that's kind of the way I help people with CG, although I've backed several books too, maybe about 60 different projects, not as many as I want. But when you're doing your own projects and you're paying artists, you're paying colorists, you're paying inkers or whatever it takes, right? Then that kind of siphons off your ability to back some of these great projects that you want to back. But I do try and, you know.
It siphons off your ability to buy peanut butter and bread.
Like Brian, I have not got his 6-gun gorilla, but I did catch RJ's charity auction and bought some stuff from Brian. So I have some of his through that auction, you know, signed gorilla pieces and prints and stuff. So I've done auctions. I advertise some of my Ashcan through Alterna Comics. And we're going to be adding to this campaign like original page artwork from it. RJ, on the week we'll be having some of the original artwork. Like now Dillard stuff's going to be all digital, so that I don't have anything physical from Dillard unless I pay him to do me something. But I've got a bunch of sketch cards that I'm going to be putting up like every time, like every Friday at noon. So I've been working on some of this stuff for a while. I'll be adding some original bookmark artwork to the campaign as well. And if we get enough money, I'd like to make some of these into like glow in the dark, because I do different iterations of Bog and things.
Oh yeah.
So I would love to see something like that in a glow in the dark.
I took the screen down because I'm trying to duplicate Carrie's issue here, where she's saying
Okay.
that no shipping options are available for her selected location. Which
really?
tells me, Carrie, that you didn't have an account yet on Fund My Comic. I don't know if you're logged in or not, but if you create an account and give it an address, then that should be your drop-down address. You should be able to just drop it down. Creating a new address, if I try to do that, I'm going to mess myself up. I don't want to do that.
Now, before I forget, RJ, we had an early bird special. In fact, Justin, just who helped me do it, he did his own project, Chrome Dog.
Yes.
Before I forget, he just took it down today, but I'm going to extend the free headshots. The offer was in the first 24 hours. If you back in the first 24 hours, you get a free headshot. So Brian backed, and I'm extending that. He'll get a free headshot of one of my characters. If you have a preference, just let me know. I'm just, that's one way I can give back. Everybody will get a piece of little original artwork with their order.
That's the fun of doing the crowdfunding, is that you always end up getting more than what it was you bought. You go to the comic store, you buy a book, you get the book. That's okay. It's what you wanted. It's what you paid for.
Right.
I go and I buy a book, and sometimes I get a book and a print and a poster and a toy and a trading card.
Trading cards, magnets. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, on the Ash Can, which did over $1,300 over time, RJ, I thought that was very successful for a little 24-page Ash Can. At the end, I just tacked on, to make it a proper campaign, 2 trading cards. That's still up on Indiegogo too. There were only 100 printed. I only have so many left. But we did like 2 magnets, 2 trading cards, and 2 there's one of the magnets, and then the other's a Devil Flyer magnet. And we did what else we do? Three bookmarks, Bog bookmarks that I did artwork for. So it was a pretty successful smaller campaign, and I think that's been a good primer that they know that I'm going to deliver. And then of course with this larger campaign, I always had you in mind to fulfill it. So I hope I don't keep you too busy when it comes to it. I hope you
do.
Huh?
I hope you do.
I hope I do too. I hope I do. I hope I keep you busier than Fiendish was for you.
Yeah, I want everything to keep me busier than Fiendish did. Fiendish was, everybody knows Fiendish, but they don't really. I'm surprised how many people don't really know that Fiendish was equal in size to Drunk 3PO's Achromatic Chronicles Blue graphic novel that we fulfilled. And he's putting out his second one this year, Achromatic Chronicles Green, that Eric Hodgson is doing the artwork for. And it's shaping up to look phenomenal. Hopefully we're getting Carrie on the right path here, because we'd love her to be able to buy your book in the next 15 minutes. But it's giving her
so we could have some more shake and bake. Yeah,
we'd love to have that. Again, Carrie, since you're logging in for the first time, I don't know, because it's if you're logged in, it should just be when you get to the address, like drop down, select the address that you registered with, and it's good to go. 'Cause it'll
Yeah,
already have
Luke
the shipping
Stone
in.
can absolutely help you with that, or also Justin that put up, help put this campaign
Yeah.
up. He's
And
an
of course,
admin over there.
there's a full Fund My Comic group on Facebook. Just
And I get it.
with the
This
admin.
is less than a year old platform, and it's still got some growing to do.
Yeah.
It's not tried and true like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, but I
It's
think
got a lot more growing that it's going to be doing too. And I know
it's a
I'm
superior
privy to those
platform.
directions.
What do you think, RJ? I think it's a superior platform.
I think it's got the potential to be. I think it's got some, like you said, some bugs in it. It does some
Yeah.
things that are a little bit different. And I know the things that are going to be expanded upon
Right.
in the future here. Like, from the fulfillment side, I know there are things with the data that I would like to see done. And they're working on that, getting an inventory system put into it to where, they can have individual items rather than just the tier itself.
Mhm.
But nothing that's insurmountable, nothing that can't be worked with, and certainly nothing that impacts the buyer. The buyer's like, I bought this tier, here's my money.
Well, I know there's a lot of buyers who probably want to see that trailer that Doc Blaylock kind of put together in Pedro.
This trailer, let's take a look at this trailer
Let's
here. Now,
take a look at this
so
trailer.
I've
You did
shared the
such an
Chrome
awesome
tab, so I
job
should
with
have
it.
sound.
It would be a crime not to.
I like the trident going up through the Fund My Comic logo. Everybody's playing with the logo for Fund My Comic
Yeah.
because they can.
And they usually put a character there, but I like that it's all kind of focused on the weapon he actually
story.
did not know it at the time, but that's actually Aquaman's trident. But it was available to use, I guess.
We
Spoilers.
won't tell anybody.
Little behind the scenes thing. I don't care that it doesn't look like his trident. It gets the point across, and I like that it's not
it's
a
a
character
symbol.
it's a symbol, right? And kind of like Carrie, I'm sending you. I don't know that you're on Twitter, but I'm pasting Luke Stone's Twitter up for you, so you know which Luke Stone. Hopefully.
Well, Pop sent her the link to the Facebook here in the chat, so hopefully she scrolled back and got that.
Okay.
I want to remind everybody at the top of the hour here as we go off to pop over to the mic stand where Mike Walters will be giving you the niche news of the day, everything that's happening in comics, and anime, manga, and professional wrestling. So if any of those things float your boat, you want to pop over there and find out what's happening as Mike
RJ, what I got to ask you a question. I know you're here to ask me questions, but I got to pick your brain. What do you see happening in crowdfunding in, say, the next few years?
Or
does it needs to expand, right?
It needs to change. I don't know whether expand or collapse is the right way for it. I mean, I think the first expansion we're going to see is not so much in the number of publishers and creators. I think people are going to say they're going to start expanding the number of platforms. I think people are going to start seeing what Eric July did. They're going to start seeing what Luke Stone did, and they're going to be saying that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Again, it's a situation where we had a gold rush, and the people who got rich weren't the people who found gold; they were the people who sold you pans and pickaxes.
True.
Um,
Yeah.
so, so I think people are going to say, "Hey, if a platform is what's needed, can I build a better mousetrap?" And they'll start putting it out there.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing we're going to see. I think second thing we're going to see, and I've technically already seen it, people are getting tired of any one platform being dominated by the senior class.
Yeah.
You know, the freshmen come in and they're like, "There's no room at this lunch table for me," and I keep getting pushed off the end of it. They
Yeah.
feel.
But now
So they're
I
going to look for another
also
platform.
like that we can gather in one spot like a central hub, and kind of do it together. But I
Yeah.
get that there's some people that feel like even though we're on the same platform, we're not really together, doing this together, hand in hand.
Exactly. I think they're going to want their own platform so they can get their own hub, so that they feel
Yeah.
there's space for them to grow and succeed.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen, and I think a lot of people are going to leave crowdfunding altogether. And they started with crowdfunding. They
Right.
established what they wanted to do, which was establish their title, get the money rolling, and now just go direct sales. And I'm working with people who are doing that as well. They're going straight into printing and making a global distribution available.
Yeah, I think we need to get on, Amazon and in all the bookstores, Barnes and Noble and stuff,
Well, that's what
and
we're doing.
and the local comic shops.
Yes. Yes. We're
I
making
was
all that happen.
thrilled to get Gary Martin's Mighty Titan at my local comic book store. I was thrilled to get another crowdfunded book that I just happened upon. Oh, it was Professor Murph's book out of 6. It was the first book. What is it?
Now here's the thing we got to do is be able to promote outside of crowdfunding what the books are. Because here's what I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like taking extras of indie books to a comic book store that's very, very indie friendly, and them saying, yes, we will take a chance on these books, and they put them right there on the top shelf of the new comics. And then I go back 6, 8, 10 months later, and the books are still there. I don't like that. That tells me that people are looking at the books and they're like, I have no idea what this is. I've never heard of this. So there's a gap. There's an information gap going on here where with crowdfunding, the crowdfunding audience is tuned in to the people. But the comic shop audience is still not being reached with information.
Do you think
about
it's
who these
because
characters are.
they're like, yeah, I know Marvel and DC. I can get it. I know these characters
Absolutely.
and get it on a monthly basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
This is a crap sandwich, but by golly, I know this crap sandwich. I've been eating this crap sandwich for years. It's my favorite.
right. And so even though this looks like gold, I don't know. It might just be a one shot, and I'll be
It's
wanting
different.
more. I might
Yeah.
be wanting more of it, but where do I get more
Well,
of it?
And that's the other problem is that they're looking at issue number 1 of a title on the shelf here, and then 5 months later they're looking at issue number 1 on the shelf of that same title. They don't see issue number 2. They're like,
Must
okay,
not
I
be
was
any
right.
good. Must not be
Yeah.
any good. Nobody wants it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Should we do
Lorenzo's
like
right here.
bundles? Should we do like polybag bundles of like the first 3 issues then?
There's a thought, or I think
Or trade
polybag bundles would
paperback?
be in. We can do trade paperbacks, but I do think that bundles would definitely show that there's a continuity going. And
Yeah.
then you can say, okay, well, they've done 3, then there's probably a good shot they're going to do 4 if this is not the end of the arc.
Right.
Lorenzo, you're right. We do get books on Amazon. We get books in Walmart and Barnes & Noble and your local comic shop because our distributor is global to everybody. So,
Shameless shield.
yeah, shameless shill. And if you want to see those books, there are 3 links below on the video there. It takes you right to our page, shows you everything we publish. And let me tell you, there's a
And it's
couple
a
of things
lot.
that aren't on that list. We're going to have the world of independent comics talking in the next 3 weeks.
I hope so.
You're
I
going to see
think-
something come from us that's going to blow people away.
Forgive me for the pun or the shameless shield, but I think the momentum is on the independent. The
Yes.
ball's in our court. And if we want the entertainment that we want, we're going to have to make it ourselves.
Absolutely.
And I have been working on this for decades. I didn't just come out of nowhere. I did, but you know, I mean, I've shown designs to the creator of Tony the Tiger. I mean, through the years, I've shown designs to, you know, different art. I mean, but I've never tried to get it published. Now through crowdfunding, I kind of have the distribution part of it licked, and I'm at the point in my life it's now or never. So every project I work on is absolutely a passion project. At my age, RJ, I probably got 30 years.
Well, you've
You
got a
know.
lot of energy put behind it now. You've got the momentum to blast on through that barrier.
Oh, I see what you did there.
See what I did there? Yeah.
See what you did.
We'll play with both of them. That's how you
Yeah.
do it. You work it into.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I mean, John Dillard said, "Well, what would you?" I said, "I want to go epic with this, and if I had to delay it, I had to go epic." And he said, "Well, what would you?" Bless his heart, he got with me and he said, "What would you consider an epic cover?" And I reached in my collection, which was down here by my feet, and I said, "How about like this burst through cover?" And then, you know, and so he's bursting on the scene, you know.
Yep.
Can you show that cover again? Because it seems to be the most popular cover, and for good
Absolutely.
reason. You've got 14 characters on there. He's bursting out of his own book. Now that's always effective. Has it been done before? Absolutely. But we're going to be
first appearance of Robin. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you know, I'm thinking of the future. I've got other great artists and things and people that come to my channel every day. They know I'm employing many people to make this, to slowly get the momentum going and get this going up and get people on board to read this and to say, this is fun, you know. This is something you don't see every day. But absolutely, anybody can do it, RJ. They just got to have a passion to do it.
There you go. And you know, once you got that momentum going, like Isaac Newton said, an object in motion stays in motion, unless acted upon by an outside force. So
yeah. And I mean, you know, you got to make these decisions, and these decisions for, like, you know, what I call my universe of characters. Well, momentum came up with that. There's also another one I copyrighted, mainstream comics, but that one hadn't aged well. Nobody wants to be mainstream. You want to be in
mainstream comics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although that's clever, an indie comic named Mainstream Comics. I there's a certain irony in that I appreciate.
Yeah, with kind of like River. What's the one, you know, that Hojo's got with Mystic for Mysticals?
Oh yeah,
1 and 2.
yeah, I know the way you're talking.
Yeah, he's got a river.
Studios.
That was kind of my thing. I had the river, you know, mainstream, equating it to water, you know. But even though it was always going to be indie, it would be like, this is the shite that you want to read. This is mainstream stuff. This is better than mainstream stuff.
It's the new mainstream.
And this is just a primer type issue, you know, where you establish things for the very first time, and from here we're going to absolutely go off. We're going to do a Devil Flyer 0 issue. I'm thinking about getting Dan Lawless to do the cover for that, to kind of keep till we get to issue 1. Actually, by doing this issue, this magazine, it's going to afford more room for development in all the stories. And on this issue with Devil Flyer, you don't get the really knockdown drag. You get a tussle, but you don't get an opponent that's tough. Now this moves up all the stories that I have in mind, and by issue 1, or maybe the 0 issue, he's going to fight this demonic demon hell spawn kaiju the size of Godzilla.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the knockdown drag out. It's just a matter of time. And now that we've gotten this one out of the way, pretty much, the next issue, you'll see that knockdown, drag out battle. You'll see him use his powers more and learn more about it.
Now, is John Melendez going to continue doing the interiors? Because you mentioned he's,
Sadly not.
advanced
He's
in
working
age.
on another project of some of his own characters, because he has created some neat characters over the time, but he has talked about a crossover with the Momentum universe in the future.
Crossovers are good publicity for everybody.
And I know people like it. Certain people like his stuff because it does have that golden age feel to it.
Yeah. It definitely it looks like I've read a lot of Golden Age comics over on Mike's channel.
And he's a diehard DC fan from all the way back from when he was a kid in the 50s, early 60s. So I kind of bring the Marvel element to it, and he kind of brings the DC element to it. If you look in the background on one of the panels, I think it might even be up on the campaign, he's got the Daily Planet in silhouette back there. And there's a pinup where he's got like an Easter egg of like the eye stalk from Star Wars poking up out of the swamp.
Okay.
That was in the trash compactor, in the first movie. So he puts little
Easter eggs in there. I've looked over the pages. I don't see the Daily Planet here.
Okay. Well, he tells the story. I think it's up there on the campaign if you look. Maybe the one of him bursting out of the water. I don't know. It's just in silhouette. I think it's the one where he's coming up out of the water. I think it's up higher.
Okay.
I think you already missed it. But yeah, the
I
Daily
remember
Planet.
Coming up out of the water. I remember going into the water.
Okay.
I don't remember him coming out of the water.
Maybe it was on the trailer. Maybe it's on the trailer I'm thinking of.
Probably was.
Yeah, it's probably on the trailer. Yeah. But
so
Marco, he's a madman, the whole family. Characters die in this book. And
as long as they don't come back.
Well,
of course, Devil Flyer did that already. So
he did. He's kind of like Spawn inspired,
Yep. I got that feeling like when I knew they came back with power.
Captain America was frozen.
Right.
This is a messed up individual. You're going to find out how messed up he is. He's dealing with that.
Yeah, you got somebody from 1899 dealing with smartphones and the social media.
Yeah, he's trying to do the right thing, RJ, but he's kind of ill-equipped to do it, even though he's got great power. With great power comes great responsibility, right?
Exactly.
To turn a phrase, and
he's got a lot of it. So,
and he's dealing with other powerful characters, and the next chapter, I mean, the next leg on this, after we get this out fairly quickly, RJ, we take it's called a book called Marvel Momentum Future Visions, and it will have the death of Silver Boa, which is a story being worked on right now. That's the way I introduced the character, is with his final death song story, or is it set in 1959? Which is our past, but the future for the character, because he was a crime fighter back in the late 30s and 40s and 50s, all the way up to the early 60s, 59. And we have a story that's going to be a short story that's set slightly in the past, right after the climax of the Devil Flyer in the recent past. And then we have the story I'm really excited to get to, because this is going to deal with the Devil Flyer part of it directly, is set 250 years in my universe's future.
Okay.
And so you'll get to see future versions of some of these characters that have been introduced in this book and that have not yet had any airtime, but have been seen in cameos.
I'm not going to ask if they live that long or if they pass the mantle on, because that would.
Some of them live that long. Absolutely. Like Bystander, my cosmic character, he doesn't change over that much. I have another one called Storm Rider. He's going to be an old man by that point. There's another one that's kind of a living brain called Cortex. He's going to be made into a living weapon. This sets things up. How did he get that way? you're going to see future versions of some of these characters before you ever see them in the present. That's a different way of storytelling, I think. It's almost like telling an alternative story or what if, and it sets up some very intriguing possibilities for present stories, I think.
Yeah.
There's one character that's actually born to that era that's on the team. There's characters, villains that'll be introduced. And see, you'll say, I've seen that character before, but he didn't look as old. He's in his prime in present time, but I've seen him 250 years in the future. And that will definitely have a sequel as well.
All right.
But
So
that's
you've got a
gonna-
lot of stuff going on.
A lot
this
of
is-
stuff going on, and we've got a good start on it, I've got to say, because I'm working on like 4 projects right now, not just this.
Pretty much full-time job for you now?
Well, I'm not a professional at it, but I take every moment that I can. So yeah, I'm pretty much working on this when I'm not working my day job, which is seasonal. So it does afford me a lot of time, and I do a daily show. So I'm always keeping people updated about what's going on, and they've seen and contributed to this project and a lot of the character names, and I've tried to involve them, in the process. And I think that's why I had such a great outpouring, because they're invested in this, the people that know about it. Now I just have to get it out to the people that don't really know about it.
Exactly. And I've refreshed this one more time before we end the show here, just to see. We're still at 87.
Jake
but
and
there's nothing-
bake.
Yeah, we're still at 87, but
Carrie's trying to
Little-
get in there and make it higher.
I know.
Yeah.
She's talking with. Hopefully, she's in conversation with Luke.
Well,
already.
earlier today we were at 61%. So this is great
Yeah.
growth for the second day going into the third day. I mean, we're almost funded on the third day. That's awesome. And we still got to like 3 Eastern to make it, 3 days to fund.
You're
would be
going to
awesome.
get this funded sometime tomorrow. It'll hit 100% because
Yeah.
it's not. I don't know what's it. Let me do math here in my head now. You got
Then we can party.
$2,000 to go. You got $261 to go.
Well, part of
Um,
that, RJ, is baking in bundles. Like one person bought a $300 bundle today. So that
Do it.
really, catapulted us up into the 80 percentile.
One person gets this Devil Flyer Skull original artwork sketch.
Right.
Done. You've done it.
And you can get
There.
drawn into the book. And one thing, RJ, and I want your opinion on this, I want to do a thank you page using everybody's icon.
Ooh,
Would that be
that's
cool?
more ambitious than listing everybody's name, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think it's more personal. It's kind of like immortalizing. Of course, I would reach out to everybody and ask them if it's okay, but that's the way I would like to do it.
Yeah, it's well. Carrie says
I've
she's
never
trying.
seen
She's
that
waiting on the
before,
like-
and I'd like to see that.
That would, yeah, it's going to take a couple of pages to do that one, especially if you do it in color. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, Rex, it's been fun talking with you about this project. I can tell you're excited about it. I can tell that you've got an excited audience about it because they're all here and chatting about it and backing the book.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's what you want as a creator to see
Yeah.
that kind of
Thank you for
infectious excitement.
you're only the third show that I've been on since we launched. So, thank you for this opportunity having me on so soon. And yeah, we've got a long way to go, and it's gonna be a hell of a ride to get there, but we're gonna get there.
All right.
If we're gonna
Well,
do
Rex, I do
this, we're gonna
appreciate-
do it together or not at all. And I'm
Exactly.
gonna do it regardless. So I can do it
All right,
in the
well, we
closet
appreciate
where
you coming
nobody
on.
sees it, or I can come
Yeah.
out and show it to the whole world. And I do want to show this to the whole world. And this will be my first full stories. I've gotten such great advice. Like Amanda B said, we just want a good story. I'll
Yeah.
give you a good story. So,
That's-
and I can't wait to see what people think about it and review
It's a
it.
beginning and a middle and an end, and have something happen, and we're happy.
Yeah, yeah. It's not
All
rocket
right.
science.
No, it's not. It's
No.
just basic storytelling, which
Yeah, I think that's
people got.
enrooted deeply within us, RJ. From the campfires when we were kids, or the cavemen sitting around in the caves telling their hunting stories. We as a people love a good story.
You just have to hold people's attention doing it, and
Mhm.
sitting
Are
around
you
the
advocating
campfire
pulling?
talking about what's that?
Are you advocating the old caveman, knock her in the head and drag her off to your cave? Is that what you?
Yeah, if you can get away with it. No, that's
Don't
wrong.
worry about me.
That's
I'll just put words in your mouth.
yes. No, but if you're sitting around the campfire talking about characters who are sitting around the campfire talking, that's not a story. You had
Right.
to tell action and suspense, and you had to keep your audience sitting on the edge of their rock,
Yeah.
figuring
And
out whether or not you
that's
lived or
harder to do in crowdfunding, RJ, unless you do these big tomes that are
yeah.
taking a lot of people, like Death, that's going to be over 300 pages. I get it. And it's taken a couple of years to produce. But uh, it's the artists are giving you the best work, and that takes a little time, you know, and even in developing the story and expanding on it and using that time wisely, even the scope of Devil Flyer has gotten much bigger than what I initially started out with. And this is just the seed, starting with the ash can, really, but the seed that you plant in the ground that grows into a giant oak. And that's a process. It takes time. I get it, uh,
Yep.
but we can absolutely do our have better entertainment than what Hollywood or Hollyweird or some of these books that are coming out now, and it's just recycled garbage.
Yep.
It's original ideals just seem to be at a loss for some people.
Demand it and then show that you mean it.
Yeah, and they
Show
don't
them
have
that you.
they don't have any direction. I take a page from J. Michael Straczynski, RJ, that's written Spider-Man and other books, and he came up with Babylon 5 and wrote most of those episodes. He said, I wrote Babylon 5 a million years in the past and a million years in the future. And so I know the beginning of my story and I know the end, and I'm just writing the middle out to the edges. And I like that approach. He knows where he's been and he knows where he's going, and that's kind of where I'm trying to develop and get this out. But I
And
think
he's still doing it. I just saw Babylon 5 Adventure that was animated and brand new with all those same voice
I
actors.
know I bought it. Yeah, like 2 weeks out, I bought it, and it's I wasn't expecting any new Babylon 5 anything, so it's nice to see that it's still alive. They are remaking, although with the writer's strike and everything, they are remaking Babylon 5, and he's at the helm of that. So I'm excited to
Well,
see what he does with that.
as long as he's in charge of it, then there's a better chance of it coming out
Yeah, and
decent.
Babylon 5, a lot of people don't know it, but they had a spinoff. It only lasted one season. It was called The Crusades. I actually have
Right.
a TV prop, and there wasn't very many props from that show, but I have one of them that's in the opener on all 13 episodes. Because and why I say there wasn't very many props, that was heavily CG laden series.
Yeah, it was. It was one of the early forerunners of CG.
Mhm.
Because we were all computer programmers where I worked, and we'd go over some guy's house at lunch to watch Babylon 5 because it was recorded at 2 in the morning where we lived.
Right.
And we were looking at, look at the CG on this. Look, that almost looks real.
Yeah, and I mean, you and I growing up, we watched Battlestar Galactica, and it was like, wow, how do you bring Star Wars to the TV set every week? But they did it.
Yep. With
And
practical effects even.
yeah, I mean, I probably loved Battlestar Galactica a little bit more even for that. And just the Cylon ships looking like stingrays, and just so cool,
The whole Egyptian motif to it.
Yeah, and it was in your house every week. Star Wars wasn't.
No.
But now I do appreciate Star Wars,
I've
Don't
got
get
I've
me
got a
wrong.
headcanon that basically says that the Star Wars universe and the Battlestar Galactica universe are the same universe, and that the guy who
Yeah.
came up with the Cylons is actually Palpatine, because he got the clone troopers didn't work, the androids didn't work, and he ended up developing Cylons as his body degenerated into the new form that he takes, and the
Hell, you
galaxy
could put the
long time ago and
Borg
far
from
away goes to Earth.
you could put the Borg in there if you wanted to,
Sure.
from Star Trek. And you fit it all in if you're creative about it. One story that I'm not told yet, but I'm going to tell is like Farscape and Voyager Star Trek, because both take the premise of being way out in space. Well, that's
Yep,
a blank
totally lost.
space. That's
Well,
blank
if
space.
you want to do that,
It's
yeah.
unexplored.
If you want to be, you want
You can
you
do
want to be out
anything
that
at
far
that
with
point.
you want to be out that far with Farscape and Voyager, you might as well just throw in the Jupiter too.
Yeah, that's why I like an underwater adventure, because we haven't explored there. That space is unexplored. Kind of like in the early 30s, with the pulps, and in the 20s with the pulps, where we go to deepest, darkest Africa. Africa wasn't fully explored by that time. Same thing
Yeah.
with Antarctica. I'll be doing some stories in Antarctica and Africa and the Mayan stories where you go to South America and stuff. There's very few places nowadays, but still there are places where hardly any white men have ever went.
Lot still to explore, and we explore a lot of it in our comics. We
Right.
make
That's
up
what
places
I
to
like
explore.
about comics. Really, and we were discussing that, I think, on Salacious Run today, or your environment that you said. If you sell people on the environment like Gotham City, then you can believe in a Batman,
Yeah.
And Gotham City is a character all in itself, or the Batmobile, or the Batcave. Those are essential accoutrements, and that's why I'm excited to get this out from Devil Flyer, because the next issue, not only will you get a knockdown drag out kaiju battle, how does he handle something as big as a mountain, but you will start seeing the Lois Lanes and the Jimmy Olsens and the Perry Whites, the secondary characters, come into his life and make him a richer character as he starts to interact with normal people. Because like you said, he can't be normal. He's got a devil's tail. He's got wings, and that stuff he just can't turn off and turn on. He's a beast, if you will.
He's
He's a
like
gargoyle.
Nightcrawler.
He's a Nightcrawler in the city. Yeah.
All right. Well, Rex, I'm going to have to wrap things up here, but
Wrap
it's
it
been a
up.
pleasure having you on.
Oh, it's been a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Everybody in the chat, appreciate you guys being here. We don't have a show without you guys. We're just a
You rock.
podcast falling in the woods otherwise. So we're glad you're here. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night, everybody.
Oh, I see what you did.